3 years have gone past now, Brian, I've been fighting this, along with the other campaigns like Melanie and others that don't want their identities revealed. We've ascertained that the Chief Constable, who you've done lots of profiles on, Chris Hare, he was obviously a gatekeeper to all this, because recently myself and Mark Salon and David Hollis and a group of others, we met with Equinox. Now Equinox oversees Daybreak and Operation Make Series. And now that they're actually engaging us with dialogue, giving us updates and everything now, as I brought it to you, that there was a media blackout following the questioning of my rapist, Alan Smith. Now, that media blackout we fought to get rid of. Now, since Chris Hare's gone, the police are now they're operating a lot more open than what they ever have. But what we've now got in recent times is the IPCC investigation that you did an expose from my 2003 case. That came to a conclusion when I got my CPS result. The conclusion is that Wasim Chowdhury allegedly did a proper investigation in 2003, and that's going to go back to IPCC now. Notwithstanding that, we've got 5 points that the IPCC are going to have to relook at, because we can categorically say that Nottinghamshire police are liars. What they've done with that 2003 investigation, they've used parts of it alongside Daybreak to cover their own backs. You know, it's corruption through and through. And all I can say is one conviction in 6 years of Operation Daybreak.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It says a lot for the credibility of Nottinghamshire police, but things are moving forward now with the, I don't know whether it was dismissed or resigned, but we put plenty of pressure on here in Nottingham. So some of that pressure went to Paddy Tipping, who failed to do anything about written demands for his dismissal. He never even registered them, and I'm actually going to take that through Parliament. But we are moving forward. But very recently I got a set of documents. Now these are court-related documents that the council said didn't exist. Remember, you telephoned Nottingham City Council about Hazelwood, Ashley Hall, and I believe you also questioned them about Aston Hall and the fact that Risley Hall had been an annex to Aston Hall. Now, these were all denied. Well, lo and behold, what have we got in there? We've got a report on Michael Summers.
So you've got these records that come to the surface now, which show that not only did these homes exist, but you were there.
I was there, and had I not won my appeal on October the 5th, 1967, I know that I was scheduled to go on October the 19th to Aston Hall. What they used to do, they used to have kids go Monday to Friday, then when they came back for the weekend, another group of kids would go Friday to Monday to Aston Hall. This is a sick experiment on kids.
And what was happening to them? What was happening to the children at Aston?
They was given hallucinogenics, anaesthetics, barbiturates, and they were molested and abused and raped by Dr. Milner and colleagues of them. But the killer is, it was owned by Nottingham City Council, which we believe is part of the reason why that they're reluctant to give out any information whatsoever.
So this is the truth of the matter. The fear is there because all these people are actually culpable.
Very culpable, and the ones I say are most culpable are the selected leader, because he was never elected in the first place. He got the position by default, and the current chief executive who ran the social services before getting elected as CEO, the current director of social services, who came from Humberside Social Services after her own, shall I say, cover-up.
But what we could say is it's interesting because they're relative newcomers and this abuse has been going on for many years. So why would they be reluctant to take the lid off it? they're not involved with it? Why should they be reluctant to have a full investigation into what was probably going on?
Because my rapist, he was at the top, and when it goes to the top, it goes beyond it. He was the regional director of social services, and Paddy Tipping, you look at his Facebook page, he says he's a politician. Well, politicians lie, as we know. He's not the most honest man, but you only have to look at the MP's fiddles over their expenses. So, is that a man you can trust? I don't think so, because in June 2014, he'd never heard of Mr. Smith. Yet 6 months later, when we talked about the infrastructure of the social services, which is out there on video, he had a sudden jerk of memory. Oh, he was my boss, the regional director. It goes to the very top, and we still believe that it goes to Westminster.
Can I just come in there? Well, of course, we've just done an interview with a very brave detective constable from the Met Police, and in that 1 hour interview he said that the Met Police, politicians, the local authorities, social services, children's services and the charities all knew about the abuse in London, and he's giving examples of how they covered it up. And then when he steps forward as whistleblower, that policeman is quite viciously harassed and bullied in his professional career to silence him. So it's pretty obvious the system that's been going on here, Mickey.
Yeah,
this is the establishment closing ranks to cover up abuse.
We've had several people, including Melanie Shaw, who have told us about visiting Beechwood and taking children down to a block of flats in London. Now, one person graphically described that place as being behind Pimlico Station, near to a restaurant that they described as a Blue Elephant, which is actually the elephant on the river. It just happened to have a big picture of a blue elephant outside. Graphically described the internal parts of Dolphin Square, and I can say factually, and I could actually go on oath and say, I lived at Dolphin Square. We actually took it to Steve Edwards at the County Council, who wrote to Helen Chamberlain, a name that you're very familiar with.
And a lady who's now departed from a public protection job and moved sideways.
Steve Edwards wrote to Helen Chamberlain, made her aware, but what he did, he only put a senior Nottinghamshire MP. But Mark Slump can give you a copy of that, because we've still got a copy. We telephoned Helen Chamberlain. There's still nothing out there that's been done about it. But notwithstanding that, we did raise the issue when we met with Rob Griffin, who's the head of Equinox, and he said that he will look into it. You know, so things are happening.
Well, I also get the impression that things are starting to move inside the police, because we're seeing police officers who clearly can no longer stomach what's going on, so they're starting to speak out.
You know, and going back to Melanie, there's all the allegations that she's made, and yes, that we know that she's been harassed by the police, just the same as I've been harassed by the police and the councils. Why did they harass people? Because they want to silence them.
They want to silence them. That's it. And that's
at the end of the day, you know, they've instead of applying criminal charges, which was something Guy Taylor was talking to us earlier about, they use the civil courts and not the criminal courts, because they can manipulate the judges.
Well, this is where we are seeing the highest level cover-up of child abuse. And it's obvious what's been going on. If the public was given the full evidence, they would understand what's going on. But of course the press, printed press and the media are not printing the truth, and we have to ask why.
We've notified the Chief Executive of Nottingham City Council that we'd like to have a meeting with him. We've revealed the outline of what we wanted to discuss. And the whole point of the telephone call was that we'd like to put out a joint press release. Part of that press release, from my perspective, was that I've been telling the truth all along, and basically they've been telling the lies. And if I've been telling the truth all along, maybe Melanie's been telling the truth all along too.
including when she said that the police were lying over their interview of witnesses for Operation Daybreak, which was clearly true, and that perhaps explains why Melanie Shaw is back in prison, effectively in solitary confinement.
Well, funny enough, you should say things about the police and how they do things, because you know the battle that I had to get re-interviewed because they were meant to actually do an interview via Interpol whilst I was still in America. Now, David Hollis, retired Army Colonel, actually spoke to one of the senior officers in the Major Crime Squad in Rochester, New York. We've got the documents from Rochester, New York that say there was never an approach. So maybe there's a similarity that Melanie has always been telling the truth, but we have another guy that's going to be joining ranks in Nottingham soon, a guy called Trevor Bell from Australia. Now, like me, he's got his difficulties with Operation Daybreak. He's been fighting to get an interview, and the same story. We'll arrange an interview.
Right, excellent. Well, all I say to you, Mickey, is keep going, because what you've done's made a huge difference, and we can see that the truth is coming up to the surface, and that's all we need.
Well, thank you for aiming in my direction, but the one thing I'm going to bounce back to you is there's no I in we.
Okay.
Thank you.
Debt Free TV, in association with GetOutOfDebtFree.org.